Okay, I'm going to call the public meeting to order. Hello and welcome to our public meeting today on the proposed rule for Washington State Register number 25-12-111 for the commercial fishing gear testing rule proposal. Thank you so much for joining us today remotely. My name is Scott Bird and I serve as the agency rules coordinator for the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. Today's date is July the 14th. 2025, and the time is approximately 9:05 a.m. The meeting is being recorded presently, and the recording will be made available online on our rulemaking page shortly after the meeting has concluded. I'd also like to state for the record that the hearing officer for today's hearing is Mr. Kurt Hughes of the Fish Program, and he is attending today's hearing remotely. This meeting, or I should say public hearing, was noticed, or public notice was sent out on this as part of the Code Revisor -102 rule publication, rule proposal, which was filed with the Code Revisor on June the 4th, 2025. We will have a presentation to brief you on the rule proposal. That will be done by Lieutenant Eric Olson of Region 4. And then we will take public comment from any attendees who are participating remotely. To date, we have received no individuals who registered to submit their comment, either as part of the rule proposal or for public comment for this rule hearing. So with that, let's jump straight into the presentation. I'll turn it over to Lieutenant Olson from the Enforcement Program. Lieutenant Olson.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and share my screen here. So can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is WAC 223-53080 for testing commercial fishing gear, and we have some proposed amendments for that. And first, give me a second here. There we go. So that's been with the department for 21 years. And I started off as 7 years as an officer in Seattle. That's how I kind of got into the Marine side of things. And for the last 11 years, I was supervising a Marine detachment as a sergeant. And then for the last 3 years, I've been a lieutenant. So that's how we kind of deal a lot with the gear testing based on the Region 4 being a big hub for a lot of those folks that actually go and get their gear worked on, especially out of Fisherman's Terminal, things of that nature. I currently supervise the sergeants in King County. In Region 4, and that encompasses 6 counties. So the current WAC, without having to just read through it because it is rather lengthy, describing certain areas where you actually can test gear. Really, the key points are here, aside from where you can test gear, method of testing, time frame for testing, duration of the tests, and obviously incidental catch is prohibited to retain, and then requires notification to enforcement, and also obviously enabling RCW to be able to write tickets and put them into court if need be. Some of the history background of amendments to this WAC, and this started with just numerous incidents over the last decade where we had some issues with folks just like not really understanding, frankly, what they were supposed to do in terms of reporting, and then also some enforceability in court being a concern. And in 2019, I actually testified before the commission to amend this WAC with a lot of the current amendments that you see now, but due to a clerical error, that was they never took effect, and that was, like I said, back in 2019, I believe. And at the time, no concerns were raised through the public comment back then. And one commissioner did inquire, I believe it was Bob Kehoe, and had asked about when I was testifying about how we handle these types of violations of the WAC, and did we write, had we written a lot of tickets for it? And I said, no, I was unaware of any fishermen actually being cited over the last few years. Not that we didn't have violations, it's just we did, but we didn't have anyone that was actually cited for it. Because we do use a lot of discretion there. And I think some of the issues too that we currently have, which led to the proposal for the amendments, is one of the reasons why. And then, why do we need the rule to be amended? Well, the rule does not specify how much notice must be given to enforcement. Only that it occurs, quote unquote, prior to testing. Without proper advance notice, that the activities legal officers will respond to these calls when they could be focused elsewhere. So no one really likes getting the call where they frankly don't really need to go, because it is a lawful activity and where they could be going elsewhere. So it does really help the officers out. And the rule only lists a phone number, no other direction as to how to notify enforcement. The amendments would make it clear for the fishermen testing the gear, and also allows for a phone call to enforcement dispatch, or an email or a voicemail. Currently, it just has a phone number. And then lastly, the rule does not require the fisherman to provide this. The current rule does not require the fisherman to provide specific details about gear testing, such as location and where they will be conducting the testing, date, time, or description of the vessel. So that's really important, because frankly, if someone just calls in and says, yeah, I'll be testing my gear, and doesn't say where, if I get a bunch of calls, I'm going to be sending officers. And when in fact, if I had that information, we could determine whether or not it was legal or illegal activity very quickly. And so we wouldn't necessarily have to deploy officers to deal with the violation. Or possible violation. And then there was one minor amendment to the WAC that crossing out or taking out inside Bellingham Bay and changing it to east. And this is really being done because it just doesn't adequately describe the location, and also for legal terms, it is a little bit difficult to enforce. For inside versus outside, without kind of giving a little more direction and specificity. These are the amendments that, just as a snapshot here. And I can go ahead and read this here. I don't know if that's necessary, but all notifications shall occur at least 48 hours in advance and not more than 96 hours, 4 days prior to testing activities. The individual shall choose one of the following options to report the gear testing. The individual can call the department at 360-902-2936, choose option 1, and speak to an enforcement program representative, or leave a voicemail message or email the department at wildcom@dfw.wa.gov. Whichever option is chosen, the individual must provide their name and the point of contact, phone number for the point of contact, location where the testing will be conducted, date and approximate time of testing, and either their vessel's registration number or name. And during the public comment that we had it open for here, we did receive one, and it was in favor of the amendment. And that's it. I'll go ahead and stop sharing. There we go. Did that stop sharing? I think it did.
Yes, sir.
Good. There we go. Any questions?
Scott?
Okay, well, that concludes the presentation by Lieutenant Olson. At this point in the hearing, I'm going to turn it over to anybody in the audience. We don't have anybody registered, but anybody that's maybe attending remotely, we'll open this time period for any questions regarding the proposed rule or Lieutenant Olson's presentation. And That's it. So I'll turn it over to anybody who has any questions.
Jamie, I'm not seeing anyone else signed in or registered here. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
So for the record, what I'd like to do to allow time for anybody who does want to join us late, it's 9:15 now, and it's stated by our presiding officer, Kurt Hughes. There is nobody signed up. There's nobody currently on the line other than the panelists here. We'll wait. We'll give this 15 minute, or actually, 15 minutes till about 9:30. And if we don't have anybody at that time asking any questions or making any comments, we'll conclude the meeting.
Sounds great, Scott. I would just affirm that we started about 9:05, 9:03, giving it time for folks to join before the presentation. So that will give us a full 30 minutes. And if we have anyone, then we'll certainly be open and available for those questions or comments. And just a reminder, this is recorded. If anyone's checking later, we're not missing any time on the recording. We're not going to put it on hold or anything like that. We'll just have an open period of pretty much a lack of conversation until we approach the as Scott indicated, that 9:30 timeframe.
Can I turn my camera off, or do I have to keep it on, or how does that work?
Doesn't matter to me. I'll leave mine on as I guess I'm the hearing officer, I think is how it's described. So I'll leave mine on, and then if Jamie, if you can notify, if anyone joins us, that would be useful.
Yes, I'm gonna mute myself, but I will have my camera on and keep an eye on the attendee participant line.
Cool. Thank you. I will leave my speaker and camera live as a part of the recording, but you and Scott feel free to mute.
Sounds good.
Well, Jamie, we are thundering down on 9:30 here. I have 9:29, so maybe just another half a minute and ask you to go ahead and conclude the recording, and we will move on with the rest of the day.
And just to confirm, there has been no new attendees logging into this meeting.
Great, thank you very much for that. Scott, do you have any words to close us out here?
Just that, so as the rules coordinator, I wanted to, for the record, state that we began our rule hearing today about 9:03 and provided a few minutes for people to join. Lieutenant Olson provided the rationale by way of a PowerPoint for the rule proposal, the changes to the proposed rule, the proposed rule changes, I should state, and that we provided at least 15 minutes or more for any attendees to ask any questions or make any comments. Nobody was registered to attend this rule hearing, and nobody participated or asked any questions during this time, this last 15 minutes. With that information, I think it's appropriate for us to go ahead and close the rule hearing at this time. If any last words, Kurt, before we do so?
I'll defer to the lieutenant, and then I'll maybe just make a couple of comments before we close.
Nothing else to add. I really appreciate everyone's time.
Great. Thank you very much, Lieutenant. Scott, maybe just in summary, this has been the commercial gear testing rule for the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife as it relates to commercial fishing gear, and the proposal is intended to improve communication with regard to the rule and aids in providing the appropriate information to our enforcement staff in what is needed from the commercial industry for any gear testing activities within the current WAC, what was it, 220-353-080. So it's been delegated to the director, and staff are moving forward with that process to complete this rule. So our next step in the process will be filing of the 103 after communication with the director and informing him of the process and whether or not he so chooses to further advance the rule with his approval. Scott?
That's it. Yeah, thanks. So we will conclude the meeting today, the public hearing at 9:32 a.m. The date is July 14th, 2025.